Ellie handed me the iPad, thoughtfully opening a folder named Memorial of Love. It was a hidden folder boasting 100 gigabytes of video files, not only rich in variety, but also meticulously labeled and categorized. I took a deep breath, clenched my teeth, and tapped on July 2020, pre-graduation, hotel. Starting from 0 frames, Serena Sterling, who always projected an image of aloof arrogance and high society elegance, appeared exceptionally submissive in the video. While the encounter was intense, I was more surprised by the acrobatic positions she was pulling off. Sebastian Miller was putting in the work, moving rhythmically above and below her. Disgusting. I wanted to vomit. It wasn't just a frenzied coupling or the raw intimacy. It was because Sebastian was wearing a graduation gown. Damn it, they were role-playing. And not just any gown, that was my gown. I had bought it specifically for myself for graduation photos. No wonder I thought it smelled strange when we took our class pictures later. For a moment, I couldn't comprehend Serena's twisted fetish. Cheating with her ex-boyfriend wasn't enough. She had to make sure I was somewhat involved too. My brain buzzed, my chest felt tight. I looked around the exquisitely decorated master bedroom of our new house, finding it suddenly alien and ironic. Julian, do you still want me to congratulate you? Don't. 5 years. She broke up with Sebastian, but she clearly never stopped sleeping with him. Stop it. Fine, I won't say it. You say it. Ellie crossed her arms, looking at me with provocative eyes. How does it feel right now? She was asking a question she already knew the answer to, making no attempt to hide her vindictive intent. She leaned in close, her hand roaming inappropriately over my chest. Admit it, you've always been her little pet. I am not. Incompetent rage? Don't you dare call me incompetent. Ellie's light frame was easily lifted onto the wedding bed. When a carnivore occasionally eats grass, it seems cute. When a carnivore only eats grass, it's definitely perverted. I've been holding back for 5 years, and after letting it all explode at once, I felt like every pore in my body could finally breathe. Ellie was mischievous. Whenever my movement slowed, she would hold up the tablet and play the video, turning the volume to the max. My rage would instantly transform back into kinetic energy. Gradually, I became the dominant one. It turned out the set menu tasted so much better than the buffet. The wedding suite was a mess. I was ready for round 2, but Ellie curled up at the head of the bed like she was fleeing for her life, waving her hand weakly. Julian, we have a long future ahead. The future is already here, and it's long enough. Ellie begged for mercy, her expression shifting to look at me with a trace of pity. She sighed helplessly, reached into the nightstand box, and grabbed another wrapper. Take it easy. It's not like I'm cutting you off. Scared? I'm not scared. She said the words, but her eyes darted to the wall clock. The hands pointed to 11. Your fiancé is coming back soon. As soon as the words fell, the phone rang. Speak of the devil. It was Serena. Both Serena and I had a photo from our engagement party pinned to the top of our social media feeds. The difference was that I posted the original photo with the caption, I will guard the rest of your life. Serena posted an AI-processed version, a cute cartoon style where you couldn't tell who the real person was. Her caption, wishing you and wishing me happiness. When I first saw it, I thought it was artsy. Looking at it now, I realized the subtext. Wishing you. Who exactly was she wishing? Aren't you going to answer? Ellie wrapped herself in the red wedding quilt, her tone teasing. That's the 3rd time she's called. You want me to answer? I want to make some noise while you're on the phone. Ellie reached under the covers, gripping hard. How would she react if she heard? That depends on your skills. Although I was ready to burn bridges, hearing Serena's voice still made me instinctively soften. Julian, did you miss me? Serena, I missed you. Why do you sound so reluctant? All right, my little hubby has worked hard decorating the house. I glanced at Ellie, who was busy causing trouble under the sheets. I was working hard, all right, but not on the house. My breath hitched as I asked, where are you? Why aren't you back yet? There's a project at the company that needs handling, but it's almost midnight. I can't help it. I just took over these operations. I won't be coming home tonight. Sorry to make my little hubby sleep in an empty room. Empty room? Not quite. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to ask, are you okay by yourself? I can come keep you company. The voice on the phone hesitated, but quickly, Serena's tone wrapped itself in a layer of panic. No need. Ellie is with me. Ellie? Really? My voice cracked. Was the person beside me a ghost? Yes. The Vance family holds shares in Sterling Corp too. And since we're best friends, we're just discussing some wedding details. Okay. Don't get too tired. Kisses, little hubby. I'm sending you a transfer to comfort your wounded little heart. The call ended. While I was still in a daze, my phone pinged. $10,000 received via Venmo. Ellie sat up, tying her hair back. Not bad. You held it together. I waved the phone. You heard that? She said she's with you. Oomph. Sebastian Miller came back to the States yesterday. I had guessed as much. Ellie moved to start something again, but I stopped her. Come here. Just lie with me quietly for a while. Above our heads hung a photo of Serena and me. She was wearing a pure white wedding dress. I was holding her arm. Below it, Ellie lay on my chest, asking word by word, Julian, does it hurt? I don't know. There was definitely an emotion there, but I didn't know if it was pain. Perhaps it was a sense of fate. Julian, why did Serena say she was with me? Because she knows I would never check with you. I had known Serena for 5 years, and I had disliked Ellie for 5 years. She had always been sharp-tongued and mean, especially to me. Whether in public or in front of Serena, she made no secret of calling me little pet. Aside from my age, what was little about me? But I couldn't refute the pet title, because a pet relies on its owner for food and survival. My ability to attend Stanford, wear designer clothes, drive luxury cars, live in a villa, and have a 5-figure monthly allowance all depended on Serena's sponsorship. She was the eldest daughter of the Sterling Corp dynasty. She sponsored more than one college student, and her suitors were countless. To avoid being eliminated from the competition, I desperately tried to please her. She had a saint complex, so I crafted a wounded bird persona, becoming the male version of a damsel in distress. She loved playing the savior, so I pretended to be clumsy, constantly causing trouble for her to fix. She enjoyed the superiority of bestowing favors, so I would get myself hurt just to let her take care of me in the hospital. At first, it was just playing to her tastes, hoping to win some attention. Until one time, while drunk, she painfully confessed she didn't want to be a sacrifice for family interests and cried in my arms for a long time. My heart broke for her, and I decided to save her regardless of the cost. So, knowing full well that Sebastian Miller was her fiancé, I constantly expressed my love publicly, making it clear I was competing with him. In Ellie's eyes, I was a freeloader, a shameless homewrecker inserting myself into someone else's relationship. Only I knew that I had genuinely fallen in love with Serena, wealthy and generous, intellectual yet sexy. At the very least, she didn't despise my humble background. She seemed like the perfect life partner. During that time, Sebastian and I never had a direct conflict, but everyone around Serena could see the deep hostility between us. Actually, I admired and envied Sebastian. His family background was impeccable, his career successful, and he was Serena's childhood sweetheart. The elders of both families favored the match. Back then, aside from my looks being passable, I couldn't compare in any other aspect. The reason Serena rejected Sebastian was precisely because he was too capable. She couldn't exert her sense of superiority over him. That was my opportunity. The more incompetent, weak, and dependent I appeared, like a pitiful puppy, the more I aroused Serena's protective instincts. This awkward relationship continued until a year ago when Sebastian went abroad. Rumor had it the Miller family's investments failed, and he went overseas to expand business, later reportedly marrying the daughter of a Ford tycoon. Either way, Sebastian's disappearance was good news. My relationship with Serena heated up rapidly. After graduation, I smoothly entered Sterling Corp, doing my best to assist Serena, dedicated to being a virtuous helpmate. After successfully securing several major projects, the Sterling family expressed their approval of me, and I became the general manager. Serena also accepted my proposal. Of course, under the condition of a strict prenup where I essentially married into her family. A new life was about to begin. And now, Sebastian was back, and Serena wasn't coming home. I chewed on the bitter facts, my mind in chaos. Seeing this, Ellie couldn't help but let out a cold snort and rolled out of bed. Julian, you've always thought you were lucky, right? Wasn't I? Back then, without the Sterling family's poverty grant, I couldn't have afforded college. Oomph. You weren't the only one being sponsored. Ellie straightened her clothes and said, raising talent is a tradition of Sterling Corp. You sign a contract before graduation, essentially selling yourself to work for Sterling Corp. A servitude contract. Your contract was special. It was called a marriage license. I fell silent. According to the prenup, I had to strictly abide by the Sterling family husband rules. No shares in the company, no inheritance rights, and even our children would take her surname. I was to serve the Sterling family wholeheartedly for a lifetime. That was the price, I supposed. I can accept it. I mock myself. No matter how harsh, it's better than going back to the mountains. Ellie paused. Can you really endure that? The Sterling family did me a favor. Actually, I really am just a kept man. No, you're not like that. I remember when you first entered college. You were sunny and handsome, a very free, very confident guy. She suddenly threw herself at me, sobbing woo-woo, leaving me at a loss. What was happening? Did she catch feelings? I have to tell you a secret. She looked up, eyes teary. Actually, I was supposed to be your sponsor. Impossible. Ellie wiped her tears and stared straight at me, reciting a few lines of poetry. I stood beneath the tapestry of stars, my body gradually stained with their brilliance. The Milky Way poured onto the barren salt flats, washing the eyes of a mother worn by a lifetime of toil. Back then, my dream was to be a poet. Plucking Stars was a short poem I wrote. How could she recite it? Ellie murmured, I met you earlier. Senior year of high school. There was a donation ceremony from Sterling Corp at your school, remember? My father was the executive of the charity fund, and he brought me along to the mountains to sketch. You went on stage as the student representative. When you read that poem, I was in the audience, watching you from afar. You don't believe me? You were wearing your school uniform jacket and gray trousers. During the speech, the microphone cut out twice, and your face turned red. When we left, I asked someone to pass you a note. What did the note say? With tears in her eyes, she said word for word, I'll wait for you at Stanford. I stepped back, bewildered. It was really her. I couldn't believe it. On the first day of school, I followed the note's instructions and waited for you in the library. But the person who came was Serena. You went too early. I'm asking you, did she say the secret code? She didn't. 5 years later, I still clearly remembered. When I recited the line from my poem, I wait where the ink dries, she didn't respond with a countersign for the story yet written. I was too excited and directly reveal my identity as the student sponsored by Sterling Corp. What happened after that just flowed naturally. 5 years. You were so close. Why didn't you say anything? Partly because of family interests. Back then, the Vance and Sterling families hadn't separated their business ties. On the other hand, Serena and I were best friends. She met you first. I couldn't steal you. But you kept that video hidden. I glanced at the tablet and took a deep breath. You deliberately brought it out right before Serena and I were to be married. This is revenge. Ellie regained her composure, making no attempt to hide it. She took you away, and then she betrayed you. What does my sacrifice count for? Originally, I thought her terrible attitude toward me was because I acted like a wounded bird, a scheming, poor student playing the victim, and she was worried her best friend was being scammed or she was standing up for Sebastian. It turned out she was standing up for herself. Now that you know, you must be very angry. I was silent for a moment, looking at the red stain on the wedding sheets. I sighed. You're silly. Who seeks revenge by dragging themselves into the mess? Julian, do you think I'm a manipulative woman? It doesn't matter. I'm a manipulative man. Early the next morning, I arrived at the company. A red dot on WeChat. Friend request. It's Sebastian Miller. Decline. Another red dot. This time the message read, don't you want to know about last night? Accept. A video was sent over. Serena was wearing an apron, holding a bowl of porridge, feeding Sebastian with a look of deep affection. In the frame, Sebastian looked thin and haggard. With every bite, he said something weak and pitiful. Thank you, Serena. Without your care, I'm afraid I would have died. All these years abroad, I missed you every day. Watching the once arrogant Sebastian, now clinging to and relying on her like a kitten, Serena's expression was full of tenderness. Was this Sebastian's epiphany? He finally figured out how to please Serena. His demeanor and actions seemed to be imitating the old me. It was too clumsy. I truly loved her, did he? Or did he hear Serena and I were engaged and felt unwilling to lose? Based on my understanding of Sebastian, he wouldn't stoop to this, nor would he disdain to. I used Sterling Corp's network to investigate the Miller family thoroughly. It turned out that over the years, not only had the Miller family failed to reverse their decline, but they had also been severely sanctioned because Sebastian had engaged in illegal fundraising overseas. Many of their domestic shell companies were empty, with most assets mortgaged or paid out in compensation. Approaching Serena at this time, what else could he be planning? Mr. Hayes. Just as I walked to the elevator, the secretary ran over. The CEO ordered that when you arrive, you should go straight to the conference room. Serena is at the company? I was surprised. After a hard night, even I was barely holding on, she could still get up? Unless Sebastian couldn't perform? Yes. The secretary looked shocked. I usually called her Serena or Honey, never referring to her by her title in front of subordinates. Understood. I walked into the elevator and instructed, help me pack up my office. Pack up. Yes. All personal items. The elevator doors closed, sealing my heart shut once again. From a distance, I could hear the noise in the conference room. It was not a meeting, it sounded more like an argument. All the executives were there. Serena sat at the head of the table. Beside her, completely out of place, was an extra chair. Sitting right next to her was Sebastian. No wonder he was in such a hurry to add me. Was this a show of force? I sighed internally. Childish. Seeming to realize I had entered, Sebastian's hand naturally lifted to fix a stray hair for Serena, the gesture incredibly intimate. Then, he coughed twice quite naturally, eliciting concern from Serena. Seb, not feeling well? I'm fine. Sebastian held her hand, speaking gently. Being by your side, I feel grounded. Smooth talker. Serena's cheeks flushed. She placed a hand on his back, patting gently. The two locked eyes, warm and sweet. Manager Hayes, you're here. The various department heads greeted me as I entered. Seat. Over the past year, these executives' attitudes toward me had shifted drastically, from contempt to surprise, and finally to respect. It was all built on my massive contributions to Sterling Corp and the fact that everyone's bonuses had increased significantly. I sat nonchalantly at the far end of the conference table, idly flipping through a file. Serena turned her head abruptly, her hand retracting as if electrocuted. She sat up straight, her expression unnatural. Serena. Sebastian sounded disappointed. Serena ignored him and asked nervously, Julian, you're here. I didn't respond, turning instead to the sales VP. Dave, what's going on? Cough. CEO Sterling called everyone to discuss an e-commerce project. Then, why the arguing? Sigh. A multi-billion-dollar project, and no one feels confident about it. Where's the proposal? There isn't one. Is this a joke? I looked at the investment manager. Old Lewis, why didn't you report this? Old Lewis looked helpless. Before he could speak, Serena cut in. Julian, I decided it spontaneously. CEO Sterling, you know the company bylaws. I said, my attitude mild but my tone icy. For an investment of this scale, at least 2/3 of the shareholders must agree. You don't think an internal staff meeting can authorize this, do you? Serena froze. She doubted her hearing. I hadn't called her Serena or honey, but CEO Sterling. It sounded strange and harsh. Her expression twisted, and she subconsciously glanced at Sebastian before forcing a smile. Rules are dead. People are alive. Julian, just consider it doing me a favor. There was a hint of coquetry in her voice. Why don't you tell us what the project is? Market One e-commerce. Everyone frowned. I almost laughed out loud. Market One was an e-commerce platform founded by the Miller Group 4 years ago. After launching, it was lukewarm at best and folded within 6 months. Now, they wanted to reboot it. Setting aside the fact that the golden age of PC-based e-commerce was over and live-stream shopping was a bloodbath, even if they repackaged and relaunched, could they beat the industry giants? Consumers had already formed path dependencies. Simply put, creating a standalone e-commerce platform now was throwing money into a bottomless pit. Sebastian Miller, you went around in a big circle just to present this garbage proposal. Only a saint brain, like Serena, would buy it. Julian, I refuse. Why? Serena stood up abruptly. From her expression, it was less anxiety and more shock. Dave, Old Lewis, and the other executives were also surprised. Julian Hayes, had bluntly and mercilessly rejected the group CEO, the Sterling heiress, my own fiancée. I need an explanation. Because I have a brain. I stood up to leave, adding a reminder, Serena, you should grow one too. I get it. It's because of Sebastian. She looked as if she'd had an epiphany. Julian, this project is indeed the Miller Group's. But business is business. Be mature. Don't let personal feelings make us miss a good opportunity. Sebastian seized the moment, standing up immediately and speaking in a pleading tone. Manager Hayes, you misunderstand Serena and me. True, she was once my fiancée, but she ultimately chose you. Even though I still love her deeply, I respect her choice and stepped aside. You are the final winner. Now that the Miller family is facing financial difficulties and is in danger, I hope you can be the bigger man, help the Miller family through this crisis, and achieve a win-win cooperation. Impressive. Sebastian, your business skills haven't improved over the years, but your mouth sure has gotten sharper. That speech, defense, provocation, blame shifting, and moral blackmail was seamlessly integrated. It was as if my continued refusal would be pushing him to his death. I listened, somewhat moved, and said 2 words gently. Total bullshit. What did you say? Sebastian looked pained. Are you really going to leave me to die? Whether your family dies or not. What does that have to do with me? Julian, you're crossing the line. Serena couldn't take it anymore. When did you become so cold and heartless? From the first day I entered Sterling Corp. Your father, your uncles, and the investors all told me that for a general manager, the greatest crime is not making money. I looked at her coldly. Now, with a project that is guaranteed to lose money, you insist on doing it? Seb isn't an outsider. What's wrong with helping him out? Not an outsider? Is he an insider then? You're insider. You're being unreasonable. Serena Sterling, get this straight. I looked around, making eye contact with the executives who had fought alongside me, and spoke slowly. Although I am the general manager, at the end of the day, I'm just an employee of the Sterling family. If you insist on going your own way and making this investment, it's not impossible. Serena's eyes lit up, and she hurriedly asked, how? This scene chilled me to the bone. She only thought about helping Sebastian, never considering that if I signed off on execution, I would bear severe consequences. At best, bankruptcy. At worst, prison time for fiduciary negligence. It's simple. Sign this document. Serena took it. Sebastian leaned in. As they looked at it, their expressions diverged. She looked shocked. The corners of his mouth turned up. Resignation letter? You're quitting. The room went into an uproar. Dave, old Lewis, and the others widened their eyes in disbelief, while more people lowered their heads and sighed. Sterling Corp was massive, but its profit margins weren't high. If I hadn't led my team to aggressively expand the business and fight like wolves for market share, the capital chain would have broken long ago. I am stepping aside. Let Sebastian Miller take my seat. He can invest in whatever he wants, however much he wants. Originally, I planned to resign to Serena in private. This was better. It saved me the trouble. The atmosphere in the conference room was heavy. Dave and old Lewis wanted to speak up to persuade me, but I silenced them with a look. They hung their heads in dejection. No pen. I asked calmly, tossing my signature pen over. The clatter sound was harsh. The pen rolled in front of Serena. Her breathing became rapid, tears swirling in her eyes. Now she felt wronged. Sign it. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. Serena threw away the resignation letter and quickly walked around to my side, asking with concern, are you feeling unwell? Or did someone make you angry? Julian, don't scare me. I'm fine. Physically and mentally, I'm delighted. My tone was sincere and calm, with a trace of relief. CEO Sterling, thank you for taking care of me all these years. Thank me? Taking care? What do you mean? You sound like you're going. Somewhere very far away. Literal meaning. I stood straight. My gaze no longer held the tenderness of the past, nor the dependency of the little puppy. Her body trembled slightly, a look of panic appearing in her eyes, like a spoiled princess about to lose her favorite toy. Julian, I get it. She suddenly spoke, somewhat incoherently. It's my fault. I didn't consider your feelings. I won't deal with Sebastian's matter anymore. Such sincerity? It actually threw me off. Right at that moment, Sebastian delivered a divine assist. With a thump, he collapsed to the floor, unconscious. 1 second she was swearing vows to me. The next, Serena reacted like a startled rabbit, rushing back to kneel on the floor, cradling Sebastian's head and calling out anxiously. The executives subconsciously backed away, afraid of catching bad luck, while simultaneously looking at me awkwardly. We were all men. What the scene implied needed no explanation. I actually felt relieved. I brushed off the sleeve Serena had grabbed and turned to walk out. It didn't matter if she signed the resignation letter or not. According to company policy, I had completed the notification procedure. I could just let HR handle the rest. As I walked out of the conference room, I couldn't help but look back. Serena's nervous expression was just like the one she used to have for me all these years. Fortunately, we hadn't gotten the marriage license. We hadn't had the wedding. There was still time to escape. Mr. Hayes, your things are packed. I met the secretary in the hall. The cardboard box in her arms was stuffed full. I glanced at it and picked out a blue velvet ring box. The ring inside was one I had carefully selected. It should have been placed on Serena's finger by me at the wedding. It's yours. Me? The secretary was terrified. Don't misunderstand. Consider it an employee bonus. The other stuff. I glanced at it. It was all gifts from Serena. Trash it. Serena Sterling. I didn't plan on continuing to play the little pet. It was time for a clean break. WeChat messages 99 plus. All from Ellie. Seasonal constant. Didn't you say you were catching up on sleep? Little Jasmine. Dare not sleep. Afraid you'll wake up and turn back into a simp. Seasonal constant. I was born a simp. Little Jasmine. Seasonal constant. But from now on, I'm going to be your simp. Little Jasmine. Did you really quit? Seasonal constant. Really? You have to be responsible for me now. Little Jasmine. It's a deal. I'm coming to pick you up. The house was huge, but the things belonging to me were few. I barely filled one suitcase. Yet the first floor living room was packed with things Serena had given me over the years. I pushed the door open. She was outside. I was inside. Julian, what are you doing with that suitcase? Shocked, her gaze swept over the living room. Brand name watches, luxury car keys, haute couture suits, arranged neatly like store shelves. These things were enough to make anyone envious, but thinking about it from another angle, they were what I exchanged my dignity for, and they were also the capital Serena used to show off. Serena, no real man is willing to be a pet. Sidestepping, blocking Serena's hand as she tried to grab the handle, I smiled calmly. CEO Sterling, how is Sebastian? At home. Why are you calling me CEO Sterling too? She looked awkward, defending herself. Okay, I know my little hubby is jealous, but Seb is a friend I grew up with. His family is in trouble, his parents aren't around. If I don't help him, he won't make it. He suffered a lot abroad these years. Malnutrition, stomach damage, depression. Just try to understand. I remained unmoved, showing no expression. When she finished, I pulled my luggage and continued walking. Stop. She hurriedly grabbed the luggage handle. Julian, I've explained it clearly. Are you still going to throw a tantrum? In the past, throwing a fit was fine, but now we're about to get married. You should be more mature. How long do I have to tolerate this? Mature? In terms of age and experience, Sebastian was much more mature than I was. Tolerance born of love is precious. If there is no love, tolerance is just hypocrisy. CEO Sterling, I'm not throwing a tantrum. Besides, I emphasized my tone. Your things are all sitting there. I didn't take a single one. Including the money you spent on me over the years. It's all on that salary card. It's enough. Her face changed slightly. Julian, what do you mean? And stop calling me CEO Sterling. Call me Serena. CEO Sterling, this love game is over. No need to linger, right? Love game? What are you talking about? Seeing I couldn't leave, I let go of the suitcase and took a step back. Simp is a derogatory term. Actually, that's unfair, especially in the context of love. The derogatory part is the groveling, but the dog part isn't. I grew up in the mountains. Dogs are loyal animals. Once they recognize a master, whether the family is rich or poor, even if they don't know where the next meal is coming from, they won't betray their master. Occasionally, if the master throws them a rotten bone, they feel grateful. Julian, why are you suddenly saying this? Let me finish. I took a deep breath. For the old me, love was that bone. It's just a pity that now, that bone doesn't belong to me. I get it. You're saying I had a change of heart? I didn't. Really? Were you really with Ellie yesterday? Serena froze, hesitating for a long while before whispering an inaudible yes. I shook my head, completely disappointed. I took out my phone and played the video Sebastian sent. Thank you, Serena. Without your care, I'm afraid I would have died. All these years abroad, I missed you every day. The cheesy voices echoed in the empty villa, piercing my heart like needles. CEO Sterling, if you hadn't cried about not wanting to be a victim of a family marriage alliance back then, I wouldn't have approached you. Julian, I was wrong. Don't be angry. She hugged me tightly, explaining rapidly. I shouldn't have lied to you, but I was afraid you'd overthink it. You're sensitive. Always afraid I'm involved with other men. Sebastian wasn't feeling well last night. I just want to take care of him. I swear, I won't have any contact with him again. I love you. I smiled weakly. Such a pale, hypocritical explanation. If I hadn't seen the other video, I might have believed it. CEO Sterling, you don't love me. You love yourself. What? You treat love as an investment. Abandoning me has too high a psychological sunk cost. That's all. No. How can you say that? I don't understand your view on love, but I understand you. I gently pushed her away. The people you like are those who deeply depend on you. You like playing the mother role. Taking care of people weaker than you gives you a sense of superiority and achievement. However, once we marry and I enter the business world, I can't play the puppy forever. I have to seek equal status. So, we were bound to have problems sooner or later. The proof is Sebastian. The old him was dominant and capable, and you instinctively rejected him. But now that he's hit rock bottom, you're more than happy to play the savior. No, you're still worried I love Sebastian. I swear I don't. No, I'm not worried about that. I said solemnly. You might not love Sebastian, but you depend on him internally. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep maintaining this ambiguous contact. No, not ambiguous. A sexual partnership. Serena stepped back, fear on her face. Julian, what nonsense are you talking about? How could I sleep with Sebastian Miller? Who is spreading these lies? Still refusing to admit it. I turned to walk out and spoke the name of a folder. July 2020, pre-graduation, hotel. Serena's face drained of color instantly, as if an invisible hand were choking her. Those eyes that always looked down on me with superiority were now filled with terror and disbelief. She staggered back, crashing into the pile of luxury goods she had given me. Items scattered across the floor with a crash, much like our shattered relationship. You watched it. Her voice trembled, holding on to a last shred of luck. From frame zero, I saw it all. My voice was frighteningly calm. That graduation gown Sebastian was wearing, it was mine. Serena, you two were role-playing, and you wanted me to have a sense of participation? What kind of sick fetish is that? She tried to explain, her lips quivering. Julian, it's not what you think. That was the past. I was just confused for a moment. Confused for 5 years? I interrupted her, a mocking curve on my lips. From college until our engagement? Serena, I'm not an idiot. Ellie was right. I really was just a pet you raised. A pet you fooled into circles, thinking he had found true love. No, I love you, Julian. She rushed up to grab me, but I sidestepped. Was it Ellie? It must be her. Only she knows. You've been tricked, Julian. She's always been jealous of me. She's wanted to steal you from me since the beginning. I'm going to use the power of Sterling Corp to bankrupt her family. Enough. I sighed. Why torture yourself, rich girl? If anyone should hate, it should be me hating you. I wait where the ink dries. If you had known the next line was for the story yet written, none of this would have happened. Ellie wasn't wrong. You weren't wrong, and I wasn't wrong. If there's a fault, it's that all three of us were wrong. As things stand, I don't want to be a romantic accessory anymore. Accessory. I pulled up the handle of my suitcase and walked decisively toward the door. Julian, don't go. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. She threw herself at me, hugging me tightly from behind, tears soaking my shirt. I can't live without you. We're getting married soon. The house is all ready. I pried her fingers open one by one, turned around, and looked at her tear-stained face. The last bit of softness in my heart vanished. The house. I smiled. Last night, Ellie and I were there. The wedding bed was very comfortable. That sentence was the final straw. It completely crushed her. She collapsed on the floor, staring at me blankly, as if truly recognizing me for the first time. Goodbye, CEO Sterling. No, actually, I never want to see you again. I opened the door. The afternoon sunlight flooded in. It was a bit blinding, but incredibly warm. Just then, a clear car horn sounded. We both looked over. A sleek sports car was parked at the intersection. The window rolled down. Ellie, wearing sunglasses, was looking calmly in our direction. She had come, as promised, to wait for me. Serena looked at Ellie, then at me. The sorrow on her face was instantly replaced by shock and a sense of betrayal. She seemed to finally put the last puzzle piece together, her voice piercing the air sharply. Ellie, it's you. It really was you. You've been waiting for him? You two planned this a long time ago, didn't you? She pointed accusingly at Ellie, screaming at me. Julian, look clearly. This manipulative woman, she's wanted to break us up for ages. The video she gave you is fake. It's synthesized. Ellie pushed open the car door and stepped out elegantly. She took off her sunglasses, her eyes showing no evasion, only icy frankness. Serena, even now, you're still lying to yourself? Whether the video is real or fake, you know best. Do you need me to connect to the car screen right now and let the passersby admire the sterling heiress's performance? Serena shook with rage, charging forward as if to strike her. I stepped in front of Ellie, using my body to separate them, looking calmly at Serena. It has nothing to do with her. This is my decision. You're protecting her? You're protecting this backstabbing bitch over me. Serena's tears gushed out, her look threatening to swallow me whole. Julian Hayes. 5 years. 5 years of feelings aren't worth a few days of her instigation. Just then, another sedan sped up and screeched to a halt beside us. Sebastian Miller rushed out. He had clearly chased Serena here. Serena, seeing the tense standoff, especially seeing Ellie and me standing together, he understood most of it immediately. He walked up quickly, trying to display his responsibility and strength. Julian, Ellie, are you two ganging up to bully Serena? He habitually assumed a dominant posture, reaching out to embrace the trembling Serena. I almost laughed at his stupidity. True to form, his Simp 101 training was failing. He unconsciously showed his dominance. His tone carried a hint of reprimand toward her. Serena, don't be afraid, come back with me. For an ungrateful person like him, it's not worth it. Normally, Serena might have relied on this protection. But right now, after being devastated by the truth and witnessing the alliance between Ellie and me, Sebastian's indiscriminate attempt to bring her under his wing felt incredibly suffocating and ill-timed. Especially the word ungrateful. It pierced her deeply, reminding her of how ridiculous her charity toward me all these years had been. Serena violently threw off Sebastian's hand. The force was so great that the unprepared Sebastian stumbled. "Don't touch me," she screamed, her gaze scraping across Sebastian's shocked face like a knife. "My business is none of your business. You men, none of you are any good. You're all bastards." She said this to Sebastian, but her eyes looked desperately at me. Then, as if using up her last ounce of strength, she pointed at Sebastian and announced word by word, a complete severance. "Sebastian Miller, listen to me. Sterling Corp will not invest a single cent in that trash project of yours. Give up." After speaking, she stopped looking at any of us, as if we were all disgusting existences. She stumbled, running disconsolately in the opposite direction of the villa, her back looking so frail it might shatter. Sebastian was stunned by this sudden change and rejection. His face turned ashen. He looked at the retreating Serena, then at us, his eyes full of humiliation and resentment. "Julian, Ellie good, you're good." He gritted his teeth, but couldn't utter any forceful threat. He chased after Serena. The farce was over. The street corner returned to tranquility, leaving only the sunshine, the breeze, me, and Ellie. I took a deep breath, feeling the boulder that had blocked my chest for 5 years finally crumble and dissipate. I opened the car door, stowed my luggage, and looked at Ellie. She smiled slightly at me, her eyes clear and warm. "Shall we?" "Let's go." I sat in the passenger seat, replying firmly. The car drove toward a real future, one that belonged to us. We didn't leave the city immediately. Ellie helped me settle temporarily near her apartment. I needed time to completely clear out the past, both psychologically and materially. I canceled my old phone number and cut off all channels that could connect me to the Sterling family. Serena tried to find me through various means, even waiting downstairs at my temporary place, but I ignored her. Her crying, repentance, and even her later angry accusations felt like they were behind thick glass. They could no longer touch me. Ellie stayed by my side the whole time. She didn't offer excessive comfort, just support through action, helping me organize my new home, taking me to nondescript but delicious small shops on the corner, silently handing me a cup of hot tea when I wrote late at night. I began to replan my life. Relying on the experience and connections I accumulated at Sterling Corp, I quickly received invitations from several headhunters. But I refused them. I decided to go with Ellie to the seaside town we had long yearned for and start over. Ellie supported me without hesitation. "My family cut ties with the Sterlings ages ago. Besides you, there's nothing here I'm attached to." We sold her unnecessary assets here and packed light. The day we left, the sky was azure, just like our mood. Epilogue 6 months later. A coastal town in the south. Jasmine Books and Brews. On the terrace, the salty sea breeze ruffled the sheer curtains. I was revising a new manuscript of poetry, while Ellie sketched the fishing boats returning to the harbor in the distance. Her phone screen lit up. A message from an unknown number. "Congratulations." We looked at each other and smiled. Without replying, we deleted and blocked the number. The ghosts of the past occasionally peeked out, but they could no longer disturb the peace of this place. Ellie walked over and hugged me from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder. She asked softly, "Great poet, how is the inspiration today?" I put down my pen, turned around to pull her into my arms, and kissed the top of her head. "Good, better than ever." She looked up, her eyes flashing with that familiar, cunning light, just like that night that changed everything. "Do you still think the future is long enough?" I lowered my head, pressing my forehead against hers, gazing into the depths of her clear eyes where the blue sea and my silhouette were reflected. My voice was gentle and certain. "No, our good days are just beginning."